Hey friends, welcome back to Six Hearts on Six Acres. My name is Bree, and if you don't know by now, I very clearly have a seed buying problem. I have a huge variety of seeds from a huge variety of vendors, and if you're watching this, I imagine that you may have that same exact problem that I do. Although, is it really a problem? Because it turns into a gorgeous, colorful, huge variety of vegetables in my garden that we grow and preserve and eat on all year long. Today I am going to get this mess of seeds organized. This is the system that I use to organize my seeds. These are Michael's photo boxes. They are just a plastic container, and inside they have small 4x6 containers that are perfect for holding seeds. Now, at the start of every year, these are full and organized and beautiful, and I can find every seed that I have exactly when I want it. But then the frenzy of seed starting season starts, and trying to get seeds direct sown into the garden, and I end up with seeds everywhere, just thrown into planters and thrown into drawers, and we won't even talk about the mess that occurs when it's time to save seeds. These are some sweet dumpling seeds that I saved this year, and they were just sitting on a paper towel, just hanging out in this drawer as well. So I have a lot of work cut out for me, but my garden season starts out so much smoother if I get this under control and get it organized how I like to do it. Now, I have 3 of these boxes, but I have some that were previously empty. I'm not sure that I still will after I get all of this organized, and I haven't purchased any new seeds this year. I want to see what I have, see what I'm running low on, and then see if there are any holes that I need to fill. But overall, I don't think that I need a ton of new seeds. Also, we do a Secret Pal program at work, and I was gifted a bunch of seeds from my Secret Pal as well. So I do have new seeds. Also, at the end of the season, like when they're on sale, I bought some seeds that I haven't even used yet or gotten into. So I have plenty. The way that I like to use these boxes is I use a label maker to clearly mark what I want them to say. These are like my dark tomatoes, for example. And then I always put when I need to start that seed. So these are 6 to 8 weeks before my last frost. And then I like to put them in the boxes coordinated with the other things that get started at that same time. So everything that started around 6 to 8 weeks is together in a box. Everything that started 10 to 12 weeks is together in a box. Everything that is direct sow is together in a box. So when it is time, I can just grab that box and I have everything there that I need that I should be planting out at that point in time. It just makes it a lot easier for me to just have it all in one place and not have to remember what I'm looking for or go through and searching, okay, what seeds do I need to be starting now? It's just there ready for me to grab, and it's easy to go. I'm sitting here looking like I don't even know where to start. I think I'm just going to start with this bag. Before I get started, after I get all of these organized, we're going to go through some of these containers, and I'll show you my very favorite things to grow that make it into my garden every single year. I have been showing you guys my garden for a full garden season now, and so you've seen 1 year of it. And I like to grow just a huge variety of food, and I like to grow things that you don't find in the grocery store. That means that I don't frequently grow the same variety of foods every year. I like to change it up, but there are some that make it into my garden every single year because I love them so much. So I'll make sure and show you guys what those ones are as well. These are the seeds that I purchased from Baker Creek when I went to their fall festival. If you've never been to a festival at Baker Creek, it is the best time to buy seeds because all of their packets are only $2 a piece. I also had in there the seeds that I got from my secret pal at work. It feels so good to have all of this clean and organized. I know what I have. I know where everything is. If you don't have a giant collection of seeds like this, you may currently be thinking I am out of my mind or crazy. But let me tell you, there are so many varieties of food that you have probably never seen or even heard of or tasted. And it's important to me to put that variety of food into my garden so that we can try it. The supermarkets hold such a small amount of the varieties that there are, and even with all of these seeds, I still grow just a very small amount of the varieties that they are. It's endless, unlimited amount of variety that God has given to us to be able to grow and to be able to eat and to be able to provide our bodies with nutrition. And so I want to do that as much as I possibly can. Plus, I love having all of the different shapes and colors and just beautiful different textures. Leaves come in all different colors. You can find the strangest colors of everything. I mean, every color of pepper and tomato is just really wild and beautiful, and I want to have all of it in my garden out there. So that is why I have so many seeds. Like I said, I don't grow all of these every year. I may see some that really catch my eye, and they may not go into my garden for that year or even the next year or even the next until I have space for them. But because I do have such a huge amount, and a lot of them are full packets, except for my tomatoes. It looked like I had a ton of packs of tomatoes, but most of those have very few seeds left in them. So I am going to need to stock up on some tomatoes, maybe on some peppers. I know I want to add some hot peppers to my garden this year. So there's a few things I need, but not much at all, which is kind of nice to not have to spend that money on it. I do save a lot of seeds from my garden as well, and I just restock those bags as I save them. Let's go ahead and get into these, see how I've categorized them, what my favorites are, and what I'm looking forward to really growing this year. In the onion category, garlic chives are on my grow list for this year. They're not something I've grown before, but I'm super excited to try them out, and it's something that you start like early in my area. So starting these means my gardening is to start in January. I will grow these in my basement grow room, and I will make sure to film that so you can follow along as well. I think those are the only onion variety that I'm going to be growing by seed this year. I'm going to get my onion plants from the same company that I have for the last couple of years, Dixondale Onions. I always have really great success with those onions, so I'm just going to keep doing what works well. New Mex Joe Parker is a hot pepper that will be in my garden every single year. These are giant peppers, and they are so prolific. Like, my plant is massive and full of huge peppers. They are spicy. They're great for roasting and throwing into like a smoked salsa. That's our favorite way to use those. I'm also going to go back with our Sugar Rush peach peppers this year. I grew these in 2023. I did not grow them in 2024, but we loved these for making hot sauce, and I am ready for a restock of that. So these are going in the 2025 garden. And a packet that I don't have to show you because I planted all of them were the Mucho Grande from Botanical Interest. They were massive jalapenos, and those will definitely be going in my garden again for 2025. Blot pepper was my favorite sweet pepper in 2024, and this will be going back in the garden again for 2025. These were good sized, super beautifully colored, prolific, thick-walled, really delicious sweet peppers. I used them as a replacement for bell peppers, but we also just snacked on them, and they were so good. Oh, I told you wrong. I had a jalapeno in my sweet box, but I said they were Mucho Grande. They were not. They were Megatron from Botanical Interest, and these were the best jalapenos ever. If you have not grown them, these need to go in your 2025 garden. Purple Moon cauliflower were my favorite of last year. These were the most beautiful, vivid, bright purple cauliflower. I didn't have much of a bug problem with these. They grew really well in my area. They were big, and they were just so pretty that it made it more fun to eat. I had an excellent broccoli last year, but the problem is that I did not label them very well, and I planted multiple varieties. I think that my two favorites were the Calabrese and the Gypsy. So these are definitely going to be going back into my garden as well. And I'll probably put a few others just because I'm not 100% sure that those were my great varieties. Although across the board, I just had a really good broccoli and cauliflower year. So I'm going to make sure and label those really well. And this year, I'm looking forward to a Romanesco style broccoli. I have tried this the last 2 years, and I have not gotten ahead. So I'm going to start this a little bit earlier in my basement, ahead of the rest of my broccoli, get it out sooner, and see if I can get one of these heads of Romanesco because they are so cool looking. Golden Acre cabbage is the cabbage that I grow every year that does the very best. So this year I'm going to be growing it, but I'm also going to add the red acre cabbage as well so we can have a purple head with all of those healthy anthocyanins. This is my tomato section. I don't even know how to narrow these down and tell you what my favorites are. I absolutely love Amish paste and Hungarian heart. Those are grow every single year peppers. Those are grow every single year tomatoes. I also really love Dr. Weechees. And then a new tomato that I grew in my 2024 garden that will definitely make it into the 2025 is this Carbon tomato. They were really prolific. They were one of the first producers, and they had like this really distinctive smoky taste. They were delicious on a tomato sandwich, and these will be going into my garden probably every single year from now on. Bloomsdale longstanding spinach was my favorite spinach last year, and it's going to come into the garden again this year. It was just really productive. It was delicious. It didn't mind the heat too much, although it did get attacked by cucumber beetles really badly, and so I ended up using it as a trap crop. I'm hoping to not have to do that this year so that we can have all of the spinach for ourselves. Bright Lights Swiss chard is another thing that has been in my garden for years now and will continue to be. It tastes great, it's beautiful, and it produces from early spring all the way until now. It's still going strong out in my garden even though we've had several freezes. We like to eat it, and when it gets too big and I just don't have a need for it at that point, my chickens love it as well. Sugar snap peas are going to go into my garden. They do every year. They're one of the first things that we can direct sow. Last year I kind of experimented around and I did a few different varieties. I did a blushing pink variety and a magnolia purple variety, but honestly just this straight green was our favorite, and so I'm going to go back to just that. As far as tomatillos go, I have always grown this Verde tomatillo, and I have grown a Grand Rio Verde tomatillo. I've had decent luck with both. They're both very productive. But I always get tiny tomatillos, which is a pain when you're wanting to make a salsa or anything out of them because you have to peel the husks off of so many tomatoes and they stick to them and it's just not the funnest job. So this year I'm excited to try, I'm totally going to butcher this, Chupon de Malinalco tomatillo. That's probably definitely not how you say that. But they are bigger tomatillos. They're bright yellow, and I'm really looking forward to having these in the garden this year. And you guys probably already know my favorite winter squash is the Zucchino Rampicante. It has been in my garden for years, and it always will be. I have a giant pile of it down in my basement that we're going to eat through this winter. You can eat it young like a fresh zucchini, or you can let it turn like a butternut squash orange color, and that's exactly what it tastes like. You can use it in a million different recipes. You can use it for soups. You can use it for roasted squash. You can use it for pumpkin pie. It's delicious and it's massive and it's so cool to watch grow. I'm also excited to be adding some loofah gourd to the garden this year. I tried to add this last year, but I think one of my children accidentally pulled the plant out thinking that it was a weed. So fingers crossed this year that it makes it a little bit longer, because I would really like to experiment with these loofah gourd and making my own soap scrubs and stuff like that. Summer squash is something that I also grow a huge amount of. I don't know that I necessarily have a favorite. I like to try a lot of different varieties, but I grew this Rugosa Friulana last year and it was super prolific. It was really mild tasting. It was delicious, and it's like got this bumpy texture, so it's just neat looking in the garden, which really goes along with what I'm trying to do out there. I am excited about this one this year, though. It's a pineapple squash. It's something I've never grown. My brother-in-law is actually a dentist, and these look like teeth to me, so that is why I'm growing these, so I can give him some because I think that it would be hilarious. Every year I grow both Hill Country red okra, and I don't have a seed packet, but this is Heavy Hitter okra seed that I have just saved over the years. They do excellent. They are so productive. And these are my favorite okra that will probably be in my garden every single year. But I did pick up 2 new varieties this year to try. I got this Silver Queen okra. It's almost white. It's so pretty. And then I got this, again, a name that I have no idea how to say, Nkrumah 1010. I don't know. This is just a really neat looking okra that I am looking forward to grow as well. My favorite beans by far for pole beans are rattlesnake beans. These are beautiful. They're striped with purple and they put on so many beans. And then my favorite bush bean are Blue Lake bush beans. I do sometimes buy my beans from seed companies like that, but honestly the least expensive way is just to go to my local MFA, which is just like a farm store that we have, and I can get giant scoops of beans, and because I plant a lot, that's typically how I do it. And if you've watched my garden over the past year, you know that I love to include flowers. I definitely always have sunflowers, although I honestly can't even tell you what varieties anymore because I have so many that are just volunteers. But this double sunking is super pretty. It's a multi-head sunflower that has, I don't know if you can see, tons of petals. It's really gorgeous. And last year I grew snapdragons for the first time successfully, and they were so pretty, but they weren't quite as tall as I would have liked. So I got a couple more varieties of snapdragons. These ones specifically say that they are tall. I know that the key to getting tall sunflowers is to get them out early enough. So I'm going to really focus on getting that done this year because I love being able to put beautiful bouquets in my house. If you are still here, thank you so much for hanging around. We're going to call on that TikTok trend. We listen and we don't judge when it comes to the amount of seeds that I have. But honestly, I don't regret a single packet of these seeds. I love having the variety in my garden. And I love when everything is just full grown into a jungle and I have so much choice to pick from. If you are still here, make sure and like and subscribe. Leave me a comment of your favorite seed, especially if it's one that I didn't name today, because y'all know that I love to buy me some seeds. So I would love to hear what you're growing in your garden and what does well. And I will see you next time. Until then, may God bless.